My name is Jennifer Ruwart. I am the founder of Moyo Jasiri, which is Swahili for strong heart. We chose this name because we believe that women are the heart of any strong society, and when we nurture women, we support the entire society. My story starts in Kansas when I was a young girl lying on my back during the warm summer nights, looking up at the stars and wondering what was out there. It wasn't until I was 28 that I responded to that wondering and I joined the Peace Corps. My time in Mongolia was absolutely pivotal for me. It's a little known fact that Mongolia was the second communist country in the world. There was a lot of things that the Russians left behind, but one of them sadly was an alcohol rate that could only be described as a pandemic. What I witnessed firsthand was that it was the women who were picking up the pieces to rebuild their society. Flash forward for 2009, and I was creating a pilot program for World Pulse called Voices of Our Future. We trained 30 women from 21 countries in Web 2.0, citizen journalism, and empowerment methodology. The results from this pilot program can only be described as profound. What I saw was the magic that happens when women are given the safe space to use their voice. For so many of these women, it was the first time that they'd ever told their stories. And they weren't just telling it to a friend or a neighbor, they were telling it to the world. Since Voices of Our Future, so many of these women have really risen up to be the leaders and the change makers in their community. Lynn from Kenya has since run for parliament and is running again this fall. Busayo from Nigeria has started an empowerment center for women. And Hope from Philippines is starting Hope, the House for Peace and Empowerment for women activists in her community. What occurred to me when I was doing this pilot is that voice is just the first step to empowerment. What needs to come next is sustainability. Last summer, it was just now is the time. I was at a place in my life where I was ready for my next career step, and I realized that it had to be Moyo Jasiri. And so in August of last year, I founded Moyo Jasiri. One of the smart girl strengths that resonate most with me is weaving. And when I think about weaving, I think about the women in our program. They have such a holistic approach to their businesses that it's not uncommon to hear them talk about wanting to mix things that in the US we would think would be unmixable. So for example, Leia in Migori, Kenya has founded Pacho, which is an NGO focused on educating and testing people with HIV. But she looked around and she saw that there were no bakeries in her community. And she thought, wow, how cool would it be to open a bakery that could then fund my programs? And then she also noticed that there were no safe spaces for women to go and connect online, since most of the cafes are owned and frequented by men. So we're working with her to create what will truly be a social enterprise that will weave together all these components and engage her community, from the influencers and stakeholders to the people who are going to buy her bread and buy minutes from her cafe, and to all the women, men, and youth who are going to be served by her programs. My best advice is to not be afraid to source your business from your heart, because that's what's going to make your business unique and authentically yours. What's next for me personally is to get paid for doing work that I love. It is so important that I model for women that we can do work that we love that is also sustainable for ourselves, our families, and our communities. What's next for Moyo Jasiri is that yesterday we piloted what's going to be our signature program called Advancing Women Entrepreneurs, or AWE for short. We are working with 10 women across the globe, including the US, Kenya, Nigeria, Moldova, the Philippines, to create businesses that are profitable, increase their standards of living, and have a measurable impact on their communities.